Hi everyone, it's Christy. I wanted to do one final episode on Junk Journal January 2025 because I wanted to give you a page through of what the final product looked like. We did all of this together over the course of 31 episodes, but I wanted to take time to just page through it and review for just kind of one last look. So I glued in the first episode. We put the book together. We assembled it. I stitched the pages into the cover. That was pretty easy. This is the schedule of daily prompts. I had glued in this "Why Not Me" image because I wanted to focus this journal on this Junk Journal January. Was kind of an experiment for me to see would a crafty channel kind of work for me. So I was like, if other people can have a successful crafty video channel, why not me? So what I ended up doing is I set each page was a different day of the event. I glued in a copy of the cover, how long the video was, what the exact title of the video was, how long I spent working on the video. And after 30 days after 30 days have elapsed, I'm going to go in and write in some results about how many people subscribed, how many people watched, how many watch hours there were. So I'm going to use this as a way to evaluate the success of the event. Excuse me, I had to grab a drink there. I've been mildly sick, so I get a tickle in my throat now and then. So carrying on, the second day we did the envelope. So I glued this envelope in the back from a window envelope from just some junk mail. Day 3 we did tickets. That's where I went through and I rubber stamped all of the page with a ticket stamp. I made, where's the middle? I made this collage of stamps, rubber stamps. I cut out some tickets that I had and I punched a hole in this and made it, as part of the center spine. And I also that day took one of the tickets and turned it into a hidden paper clip. Okay. Day 4, the prompt was outlined. That's the day I went through and outlined a circle that I had and just made the little semicircles on the bottom of each of the page, which is where I ended up writing all the results information. Day 5 was depth. We made some little clusters, such as this little guy, just out of just random scraps from a magazine, brightly colored scraps. Can't remember. I think there might have been another one, but that was the one that sticks in my mind. Day 6, we did some embossing, and I used just a scrap of paper I had, and cardstock, and I embossed with my little metal template and an embossing tool, and I just embossed by hand. I didn't have any fancy machine. Day 7 was when we created this tuck spot. I had this strip of embossed paper that I had made the day before, and so we just glued it in to tuck in a number of little doodads. I later went in and I glued in here. I don't think I did this on camera, but I later had this leftover scrap from the calendar and I glued that in on that page as well. Okay, so then day 8 we did some antique images, which are this old image with some writing space on the back, just tiny journal cards. There's a couple more tucked in here. I think they're maybe in the back. What else? Yeah. Come back here. It's buried. This one. I was going to write my reading list on the back, but honestly, I got so busy making videos, I haven't really done very much reading this month, so oh well, trade-offs, We only have so many hours in a day. And moving right along, what else? Antique, hidden, oh, yeah. This was when we made our little infinity card, where it just keeps, opening and opening. 3 and 4. It'll just keep going forever. It gets a little bit hung up right there. So that was fun to make. It's called an infinity card, and that was on day 9 if you want to see how I made that. It was quite fun, quite fun. Good times. And day 10, the prompt was trim. So that was when we made some inky book pages, and I tore off strips like this one here, inked up some book page and tore about a 1-inch strip to glue on the edge of a page. I had a couple of those in here. Oh, there's the other one. There's just the inky book page that I glued in for some page trim. Day 11, the prompt was magazine. We glued in some, trying to remember where I put them. I know there was some up here. Some magazine images, words, text, blocks, different things from magazines. The Peak of Winter, Inside. Oh, and I did this one on the cover. It had that little phrase came out of a magazine. Catching Your Breath. That was a phrase out of a magazine. So yeah, that was fun, easy. Where are we at here? We did magazine. So day 12 was overlap, and that's when we made this little guy. Just a fun little, turn a book page, folded it, 2 folds to make it into a little envelope, glued it down both sides, and we have an inky envelope. Day 13 was opaque, so I glued in this black piece of paper and used a white paint marker on it. Day 14 was, this prompt was balance, and so I took a greeting card. The inside of a greeting card had these 2 trumpet images, and so I made mirroring pockets. Oops, I'm gonna have to glue that a little bit. Out of a greeting card. And day 15, the prompt was neutral, so I made this little guy. I had some neutral scraps left over. This is a book page. It was the like the dedication page, so it was mostly blank. And just made a quick accordion fold thing and slapped a sticker on the front, and that was what we did for the neutral prompt. Where are we at here? Day 16, the prompt was unfold, and trying to remember. Okay, that's the calendar page that we just made unfold here. So I took a calendar and I cut it into like an 8-inch square, and we did a little tricky fold. It's really quite simple. It looks complicated, but it's a simple folding thing. I think it takes like 3 or 4 folds. So that was fun. Then there's the middle page. Okay, day 17, the prompt was fragile. So we took a really thin page, like out of a Bible. It was actually out of a Bible commentary. But because it was really thin, we folded it into quarters, and I tucked the flap down and made a pocket out of a fragile book page. Day 18, the prompt was bright. So I inked up some strips of paper and glued those strips onto an index card, and we made a couple of quick little journal cards with some ink and strips of cut off paper. When you're trimming down your paper to get your paper the right size, you often end up with maybe like 1-inch strips or something. That's all it was. Day 19, the prompt was bubble. I don't have these here. They're not in my journal, but we made, used some bubble wrap and some watercolor paint, and I dipped the bubble wrap in the paint, and we patterned up some paper. That was really addicting. I can't wait to do some more of that. It's so much fun. I had never done that before, but it was loads of fun. Okay, so day 20, the prompt was tissue. So we took some tissue and glued it onto index cards, and I did a crinkly version where we crumpled up the paper, and I did, no, they're in here somewhere, this one, just a flat version where I just didn't crinkle up the paper, but I just glued it on, the tissue on flat. Okay, so put those back under the paper clip. Oh, well, before I do, the next day was map, and so took this map and I made an accordion fold out of it where it extends the page. And you could do that with anything. It didn't have to be a map. It could be just a way to extend a page or add something different. Okay, now I can clip those because I have the clip is also kind of holding that map in place. So it's one moment. There we go. Okay. Day 22, the prompt was repeat, and so I glued in a repeating element on almost all the pages. Day 23, the prompt was newspaper, so we glued in I took the puzzles page out of the newspaper, and we glued in a couple of puzzles, one here, one there, and I kept the big crossword puzzle and just folded it in half and tucked it in the back pocket. Something to work on our rainy day, or a snowy day, as the case may be. Where are we at here? Newspaper, moving right along. Day 24, the prompt was line, and so I just used some black pens to create little dividers across the pages. Gives the page some definition so the eye kind of understands where to go and what's happening on the page. We also did I lined a whole page. I did some faux stitching where I just made the black little dashed lines all the way around to make it look like it was stitching. Alright, and day 25, the prompt was modern. This was actually one of my favorites. I took a tissue, the flap off of a box of tissue, and glued it in for a tuck spot. And then I had a couple phrases off of some product packaging and glued those down to the page. You've got good taste and just that good. Also, I think, there was some other product packaging throughout. I had fun with that one, so I had glued in a number of things, but you get the idea. Day 26, the prompt was movement. So I used the circle punch and a brad and made a little writing tablet. It's just, some copy paper. I used about five sheets of paper. I think there's one more there, yeah. So we made just a little swivel writing tablet. And if you don't have a brad, you can just staple it. It doesn't have to be. But the prompt for that day was movement, so I used the brad to give some movement to it. Day 27, the prompt is crumpled. So we crumpled up a couple pieces of paper and inked up the crinkly parts so that it gave it some nice color and texture. And that was fun. It's even just running your finger over it, it's really got a great feel. Kind of velvety, leathery. Okay, day 28, the prompt was sealed. So we took, where did I put it? I made a prediction, put it inside an envelope and sealed it up, and I will open that on Easter Sunday to see if my prediction comes true. If you want to see more of that, you can check out the video for day 28. If you want to know what I put in the envelope. Okay, and day 29, the prompt was reveal. And so I took a greeting card that had a nice wintry scene, and I just cut part of the back off. I left about a 1-inch strip so I could glue that down, and then the greeting card just opens up. There's some additional writing space there. But then the card kept kind of, because it was a little bit stiff, it kept hanging up when I would try to close the page. And so the next day the prompt was fabric. So I took a small piece of fabric and glued it down just to hold as a closure. Could be a tuck spot. You could do the same thing with fabric for just a tuck spot. But I needed a little bit of a closure right there. And you could use a piece of paper too, but the prompt was fabric, so we made a fabric closure. And it's raveling just a bit. Let's tear that off. Okay, so day 31, the prompt was letter. So that's the day we made this beauty. I had a bunch of stickers left over, you know, the alphabet stickers when you use all the good letters and you just have weird letters like Q, you know, and Z. Just a fun way to use up the random letters and get it out of your sticker drawer. And there you go. I have done some additional writing in here. I've been kind of analyzing, where is it? This one. I thought this was interesting. The total time spent on Junk Journal January, I kept track of my hours. 40 and a half hours. That's how long it took me to make Junk Journal January happen. And that was an average of 1.3 hours for every video I made. So this, even though the video may be only 15 minutes or so, it takes me a while behind the scenes to put it all together. So that is pretty much it. Like I said, I gotta go back in February at some point, and I will make notes about the results and see how I feel about how this went. But I had a blast making it, and it's been fun journaling and getting to know some of you. So I appreciate you taking the time to follow me on this journey. I will link the whole playlist in the notes below, in the, the description below, that's the word. And I hope that, if you saw something on this final flip through that piqued your interest, you can go back and catch that episode and find out more about how we put it together. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me. I'll be starting a new series here pretty soon. And God bless you. I love you. And I will see you in a future video. Bye.